This is the unfortunate truth about getting well or healing the body or just healing in general. And it's an unfortunate truth because it's hard and a lot of people don't actually want to hear it, especially in our modern culture. It goes against a lot of how we think about recovering and getting better. So over the course of this video, we're going to uncover this truth. Before we do that, I just want to say I have a paid Substack now. And in that paid Substack, you're going to see more videos like this, but we're going to drop a little bit deeper and I'll share a little more about my personal experience with things. But also we're going to have a discussion in a chat group where I can answer questions both via text or in a video like this. So I'd love to have you check that out if you want to go deeper. So this unfortunate truth is something that I've had to uncover for myself, and many people do. And it's something that, like, when I work with people one-on-one, I'm basically trying to get people here, because once you get here, you're actually in a much better place to make real change in your life. So to begin, I'm actually going to start with just some texts and some stories that are really helpful to understand this topic on a deep level. So this author, this book is called Awareness. It's by Anthony DeMello, and I'm not going to read the section. I'm just going to try to summarize it. But this man was a psychotherapist. He was also like a spiritual teacher, but he worked with people in psychology. And basically, because he bridged that gap, it was very interesting for him of like psychology and spirituality. And so in this paragraph, he's basically saying that he would have people come to him because they have problems in relationship. And I think relationship is just the example here, but problems in relationship. And he would help. And what he discovered was that some people didn't ever make progress. And he says, because they never suffered enough. Basically, he's saying they have to suffer enough so that it hurts so bad that they actually wake up and they get sick of it, and sick of it enough to do something about it. And what he's saying is that sometimes people would come to him and they weren't in this place. They weren't sick of their situation enough to actually have the will and power to do something about it. And he goes on to say that for these people, the help of a psychologist actually wasn't that helpful, because all it was doing is keeping people asleep. It wasn't actually solving the root of the problem. It was just trying to get relief. And I will read this last part because I think he says it way better than I can say it. He says, maybe they ought to touch rock bottom and say, I'm sick of it all. It's only when you're sick of your sickness that you'll get out of it. Most people go to a psychiatrist or a psychologist to get relief. I repeat, to get relief, not to get out of it. Now, getting relief is very different from the idea of actually getting out of it. And I know he's talking about relationships here, but what he's really talking about is everything. Now, I'm going to tell another story that highlights this relief versus getting out of it. So I was on this publication called Instagram the other day, and this really wise old man popped up as a reel. And in this reel, he was giving an example, and I loved this example. And he was talking about a lobster. How does a lobster grow? It turns out that a lobster's shell does not grow with it. So the lobster grows, and eventually it's going to outgrow its shell. So as the lobster grows, it reaches a place where it gets very uncomfortable. And at a certain point, it gets so uncomfortable that it has to do something about it. So what does it do? It crawls under a rock in a safe place from predators. It sheds itself from the shell and it regrows a new one. And in this new shell, it has much more space. And as time goes on, the lobster grows and it grows, and eventually, again, it reaches a place of very great discomfort. What does it have to do? It has to repeat this process. Now, the important thing about this story is, what is the stimulus for the lobster to shed and create a new shell. The stimulus is discomfort. If it never got uncomfortable, then it would never need to shed and regrow. But as this wise gentleman explains, if you go to a doctor and you get relief through pills or procedures or whatever you want to say, then what you're doing is you're putting off this discomfort. You're trying to push the discomfort down. And what do you do if you just keep pushing the discomfort down? Is you never actually feel the need to shed and grow. Now, this is the difference between getting relief and getting out of it. So I'll go ahead and add my input now. And my input is, I see this all the time, and I have done this, and I still want to do this. And it's that life pushes us into situations where we get very uncomfortable. My audience is people who are, very stiff, have a lot of tension, are in chronic pain. So I'll make this specific to you. When we run into these situations, our body, and you could even say on a deeper level, our soul and our spirit, is asking for change. It's a request for something different, for a shedding and a growth. But what do? We try all these techniques, and we take in all this stuff from the outside to try to get relief, to bring the flaring down, right? So that we don't have to do the actual thing, which is self-transformation and an alchemical process of change, of going through real internal growth so that we can get a new shell that has more space and is more comfortable. So what I've come to understand, and what we must come to understand, is that when we experience discomfort in our lives, whether it's physical or mental or whatever, it's that something has to reorient and change. Yet we spend our whole lives resisting change. Somehow in the modern world, we've created this fictional idea that we don't need to actually change, that we can just keep going on with our lives and, take things to just get relief and keep it all at bay. But the truth is that things have to morph. It's just a part of living on this earth and living in this life. I know that we've all heard stories of people who get divorced, and they probably resisted divorce for years. Yet a few years out of the divorce, both of the individuals are happier than before. So I believe that these are great examples for change. And I'll give an example of working in the body with this type of stuff. I work with people all the time in their, let's say, 50s. And these people are really stuck in their bodies, or they experience a lot of pain. Yet what are they doing in their lives? Well, first, they're very, very stressed. And second, they're trying to solve the problem by getting relief. They come to physical therapists or chiropractors or you name it, and they're saying, hey, just make this go away. And the truth is that no one's gonna make it go away. And even getting a surgery is not gonna make it go away because you're not addressing the root of the problem. And the real root is hey, you're 50 now. You need to be doing different things than when you were 20 or 25. And yes, that's gonna involve maybe you need to let go of some of this crazy physical stuff that you like to do. And maybe you need to enter more of a realm of healing your nervous system, healing your body, making the changes, the internal changes that need to be made so that you can shed the old stuff and bring in the new stuff. Now, personally, this is why I've come to work with tension release, because tension is the old stuff. So if you get rid of the old stuff, which is tension, then you're gonna sort of wipe the slate clean and allow new stuff to arise. Okay, that's the message. I could keep rambling for a while. Remember, I have this Substack community that you can join. It's pretty cheap. I would love to see people there and interact with people. I would be stoked to create a little something where we can chat and interact, and I can get pretty deep on this stuff. So check that out. Actually, right now, making a video to go deeper on this same exact topic. So join the Substack. Let's do this thing. I also have a program. It's called Art of Relaxation. It's all about releasing the body, releasing tension. Like the video, subscribe, but you totally don't have to. Do whatever you want to do. And Have a good day. Much love. Peace.